turn around and put something like this in an article, by the way, you guys, that is supposed to prop up Asia. This is Asia's moment to shine. Try not to talk about Caitlin Clark, level impossible. This is Asia's time to shine. Why are we even bringing this up? Why are we bringing up the toxic, racially divisive narrative around Caitlin Clark that she had nothing to do with?
Caitlin Clark just broke her silence after A'ja Wilson's time moment lit up the entire WNBA timeline. Not because she went on TV, but because of the one calm message she posted while everyone expected drama. And once you see what it was, you will understand why it hit harder than any clapback. Here is what happened. Time just named A'ja Wilson the 2025 Athlete of the Year.
Now, A'ja Wilson, to me, shouldn't have got it, bro. She got help from the WNBA referees throughout the whole entire season. Everybody act like they forget that. I mean, they hella cheated against the Fever, pretty much causing Leah Boston to foul out the game, and ultimately, you know, that's how they won, you know, to go on and win a WNBA championship.
That should have been a victory lap, a clean celebration, a moment that belongs to her and nobody else. But in the middle of the interview, one line grabbed the internet by the throat. A'ja said the history of the WNBA was erased for a minute. That sentence was the spark. People did not hear it as a history lesson. They heard it as a shot. And they heard the target loud and clear: Caitlin Clark. Now, to be fair, A'ja did not say Caitlin's name in that line. She also followed it up by saying it was not a hit at anyone, and she wanted the league's history respected. She talked about not losing the recipe, not losing the women who built this league when nobody was watching. That is a real point.
It was A'ja Wilson's response, it seems, to everything from yesterday. Sort of a cryptic message, but we can assume what this is referring to. You can always tell who reads articles for joy and better understanding of something, or someone who reads articles just to look for something they disagree on or to stir up stuff. It's crazy out here. Y'all be blessed.
But you cannot drop a line like that in the middle of the Caitlin Clark era and act surprised when fans connect the dots. Because in 2024, Caitlin became the biggest new spotlight the WNBA had ever seen. More cameras, more tickets, more noise, more debate, more pressure on everyone. Therefore, any sentence about the league being erased is going to land like a challenge to that spotlight. And here is the part that made people call it a meltdown. A'ja is being celebrated as Athlete of the Year. This is her moment. But the conversation still circled back to Caitlin. That is because Caitlin has become the center of every argument about the future of women's basketball.
The storyline bothered Wilson, who in 2024 earned her third WNBA MVP award and her second Olympic gold medal in Paris, where she was named tournament MVP. It wasn't a hit at me because I'm going to do me regardless. She says, I'm going to win this MVP. I'll win a gold medal. Y'all can shake my resume. It was more so, let's not lose the recipe. Let's not lose the history. It was erased for a minute. And I don't like that because we have tons of women that have been through the grimiest of grimy things to get the league to where it is today. And this is also a problem that I have with WNBA media, with WNBA anything. It's very strange that we can't just talk about things without saying, oh, but all these women who came before, or we talk about this player, but then we also have to mention a million other players who came before and helped build the league. Like, at what point can we just talk about what is in front of us?
So when A'ja spoke about history being erased, fans split into two camps instantly. One side said, she is right. The league did not start in 2024. Legends built this foundation, and when the media acts like the sport was saved by one player, it feels disrespectful. The other side said, why bring it up now? Why bring Caitlin into your biggest moment? If you win Athlete of the Year, take the crown and smile. Do not make it sound like the biggest star in the league is a problem.
And the fact that Time Magazine named her Sports Person of the Year in 2024 and then in 2025 turn around and put something like this in an article, by the way, you guys, that is supposed to prop up A'ja. This is Asia's moment to shine. Try not to talk about Caitlin Clark, level impossible. This is Asia's time to shine. Why are we even bringing this up? Why are we bringing up the toxic, racially divisive narrative around Caitlin Clark that she had nothing to do with?
But the internet does not do calm. The internet does not do nuance. Because once that quote spread, people started acting like A'ja was trying to shrink Caitlin, like she was trying to put the spotlight back where she thinks it belongs. But there is another layer here that most people miss. This is not just A'ja versus Caitlyn. This is old power versus new power. A'ja represents the era that fought for respect when the cameras were not there, when the league was not cool, when the checks were smaller and the coverage was thinner. Caitlyn represents the era where the cameras arrived and everything became louder overnight. Therefore, this is what the league is wrestling with right now. How do you honor the pioneers without turning the new wave into a villain? How do you celebrate the new wave without acting like the past did not matter? And how do you do it when social media rewards conflict more than truth? That is why this Time moment exploded. Because Time did not just hand A'ja a trophy, it handed her a microphone. And when you hand someone a microphone during a tense era, every word becomes a test. Now here is where Caitlyn comes in. Because Caitlyn had every reason to respond. She could have posted a long statement. She could have taken the bait and made this personal. She could have said, "I never erased anyone. I just played basketball." She could have fed the cycle. But she did not. Instead, as the debate boiled over, Caitlyn posted a picture that looked almost boring on purpose. She was playing golf, and the caption was simple. "Playing other sports is good for my mind and body." That was it. No A'ja, no Time, no argument, no defense, no attack, just calm. And that is why people said Caitlyn broke her silence. Because in this moment, silence was the loudest answer. Think about what that post does. It refuses the fight. It refuses the narrative. It refuses to become a character in somebody else's story. It also sends a message without saying it. I am fine. I am not arguing with you. I am not panicking. I am focused on my mind and body. And when you are dealing with someone who wants to control the story, nothing is more frustrating than someone who will not play the game. But it goes deeper than that. Caitlyn understands something most people miss. If she responds with heat, people call her arrogant. They call her ungrateful. They say she is acting like the league belongs to her. But if she responds with calm, she looks mature. She looks like the bigger person. She looks like someone who is built for leadership. Therefore, her most powerful move is to look unbothered. That is what that golf post does. It turns A'ja's quote into background noise. And it pulls the spotlight back to Caitlyn, not by force, but by gravity. Now, does that mean A'ja is wrong? Number. A'ja's point about history matters. The WNBA is full of stars who carried the sport before it was popular to care. And those women deserve their flowers without needing a new villain to prove it. But here's the problem. When you frame the current era as an erasing, you invite a fight. You invite fans to pick teams. You invite media to farm the drama. And suddenly, a celebration becomes a culture war. That is why people called it a meltdown. Not because A'ja cannot speak her mind, but because the timing makes it feel like she could not just take the win without pulling Caitlyn into it. And that is why Caitlyn's response matters. Because she did not answer the words. She answered the energy. She answered it with calm. So here is the real question. Was A'ja defending the league, or was she defending her place in the story? And was Caitlyn avoiding the drama, or was she winning the power game without even trying? Because one thing is clear, the league cannot grow if every big moment turns into a feud. It needs A'ja's dominance. It needs Caitlyn's magnetism. And it needs both sides to stop acting like success is a limited supply. But this tension is not going away. The next time these two share the same spotlight, one sentence will light the internet again. So tell me this, do you think A'ja's Time quote was fair, or was it a shot at Caitlyn? And if you are still watching, comment Time Meltdown.
Breaking news, hot off the press. So it looked like Caitlyn Clark has arrived in North Carolina to make her big return back to the basketball court. Now, earlier today, I reported on Caitlyn Clark coming back to the basketball court. And I'm telling you right now, it is definitely going to be a sight to see.
Caitlyn Clark has barely said a word about Team USA since the day they left her off the roster. No rant, no angry post, nothing. Until now. Because when she finally talked about that decision, she did something way more powerful than blasting the coaches. She made it sound like Team USA never really held the power at all. And by the end of this video, you will understand why the people who once felt comfortable snubbing her now look like they had no choice.
The more things change, the more things stay the same. Team USA for the 2024 Olympics made a huge mistake. They left Caitlin Clark off the Olympic team. If the goal was to grow the game, needed to be on that team, but from a straight skill standpoint, Caitlin Clark deserved it for sure. Here we are, upcoming for the 2026 FIFA World Cup roster, and Team USA has went the correct route, in my opinion. They embraced the young guns. They embraced the younger generation, the generation that more casuals know, names that are more familiar, not Alyssa Thomas. Who's Alyssa Thomas? No, we left her off.
When the original Team USA roster dropped without Caitlin Clark's name on it, the internet lost its mind. Fans called it a joke. TV shows ran full segments about how you could leave off the biggest star in women's basketball. Some veterans quietly liked the move. Others said she would get her time later. Through all of that noise, Caitlin stayed almost completely silent. No subtweets, no "they're hating on me" comments. She went back to work with the Fever, answered questions in the most polite way possible, and kept saying the same thing. It is an honor just to be in the pool. It is not my job to pick the team. My job is to be ready. On the surface, that sounded like the usual media training line, but underneath, it was something else.
So the WNBA media is absolutely positively lying to you about the impact of Caitlin Clark on the viewership of this league. And like, we all kind of know that, because reality is that yes, the WNBA was growing, but the reason why there was exponential growth, the reason why Unrivaled grew so much year on year, is because of the exponential boom caused by Caitlin Clark.
It was patience. It was calculation. Because while Team USA moved on like nothing happened, reality did not stop for them. The league kept playing. The ratings kept coming in. Every time Caitlin stepped on the floor, something crazy happened. Road crowds sold out. Jerseys flew off shelves. TV numbers looked like men's playoff games. Whether you love her or hate her, you cannot deny one simple fact. Caitlin Clark changes the math.
And last year, the WNBA rose in viewership for national TV games. If you guys don't know, Caitlin Clark games are 3 times the amount of viewers as non-Caitlin Clark and non-Fever games. The entire league wants to give Caitlin Clark no credit, and this is the league, the media, and by the way, I say the league because this is the media the league are promoting.
So now fast forward to that moment, the interview, the question everyone has been waiting for. How did you really feel about the Team USA decision? She could have let all that emotion spill out. She could have said she was disrespected. She could have dragged the selection committee for waiting. Instead, she did something completely on brand. She stayed calm. She said she respected the coaches. She said she understood that they had a process. She talked about timing, injuries, and fit. She talked about how her focus was on the Fever and getting better. And between every line, there was this one unspoken message. You can ignore me for only so long. That is what people mean when they say Team USA had no choice. Caitlin never screams it. She never says, "they needed me." She just walks you through the reality in 3 simple ways. First, the basketball reality. This is not 5-on-5 in a vacuum. International basketball is physical. It is slower. Teams pack the paint and dare you to shoot. Team USA's biggest weakness anytime they stumble is always the same. Spacing, shooting, playmaking when the game gets ugly. What is Caitlin's entire skill set built on? Deep range, quick reads, passing to shooters in rhythm. When you watch Team USA struggle against a packed-in defense, it looks like the exact problem she fixes. Second, the business reality. You can pretend it is not about business, but it always is. Networks do not just want gold medals. They want storylines. They want characters. They want someone casual fans will rearrange their day to watch. Right now, that person is Caitlin Clark. So when she explains the situation with a straight face, when she talks about how grateful she is to even be considered, you can hear the subtext. The numbers are what they are. The ticket sales are what they are. The global interest is what it is. Team USA can try to be above all of that, but at some point, even the most traditional program has to look at the scoreboard off the court. Third, the politics reality. There is no way to talk about this without admitting the truth. There is an old guard in women's basketball. Players who have been grinding for years. Players who feel like they had to do everything the hard way. To them, it can feel like Caitlin skipped the line. So when she was left off the roster, some people called it basketball fit. Others called it ego. Others called it respect for veterans. Whatever label you use, it came from the same place. The idea that the program belongs to the players who were there first. That is what makes her calm response so dangerous. She does not clap back at anybody. She does not feed the feud. She simply answers the question like someone who knows the ground has already shifted. Because the more she plays, the more it becomes obvious that Team USA does not get to sit above the drama. They are part of it. They are affected by her, just like everyone else. So when people say they had no choice, this is what they mean. Not that the committee sat in a room and said those exact words, but that the combination of performance, business pressure, and public opinion backed them into a corner. Every game she played without that USA jersey made the original decision look worse. Every new rating, every new sold-out arena, every kid in a Clark jersey made it harder to justify keeping her out. And the most impressive part is this. Caitlin never had to threaten anything. She never said she would walk away. She never begged to be included. She just kept playing. She let everyone else argue for her. She let the numbers do the talking. So when she finally opened up about it, she was not trying to convince anybody of anything. She was simply confirming what you already felt. That is why this moment matters so much. This is the day she stopped being the rookie who got snubbed and started sounding like the star the system now has to adapt to. Not just in the WNBA, not just in college, at the national team level too. For Team USA, it forces a hard question. Are you picking the 12 best players on paper, or the 12 players who give you the best chance to win basketball games in the real world you are actually living in now? A world where one player can change your ratings, your sponsorship conversations, and the way every opponent prepares for you. For Caitlin, it proves something simple but powerful. You do not have to scream to show power. You do not have to play the victim to show you were wronged. Sometimes the most devastating thing you can do is stay patient, stay respectful, and wait for everyone else to realize they need you more than you need them. So here's my question for you. Did Team USA leave her off because they truly believed it was the right basketball call? Or did they overplay their hand and get dragged back to reality by the numbers, the fans, and the pressure? Drop your answer in the comments. Was this a pure hoop decision, a business decision, or both? And if you are still watching right now, drop no choice in the comments so I know you made it all the way to the end.
When it looked like Caitlin Clark fans is very pissed off. Look like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her infamous 22 number to a new one.
Caitlin Clark just told Team USA she will not wear number 17. And Sue Bird is losing it trying to fix the mess her own program created. This is not a rumor about locker room drama. This is a direct challenge to the most powerful jersey in international basketball.
Oh, I cannot believe this, that I did not see this when this happened. So this is a tweet, obviously, that was posted. It's been referenced a few times from like 5 days ago. I cannot believe I haven't seen this. I got an email earlier today that mentioned it, and I am without question the last person to cover this. Like, I don't necessarily like...
Right now, Team USA is learning a hard lesson. You can snub a player, you can overlook a player, but you cannot control the biggest star the sport has ever seen. So here is the question I want you to sit with while we break this down. If you were in Caitlin Clark's shoes, would you actually walk away from Team USA over a jersey number? Or is this the moment where the new face of basketball has to stand her ground, even if it means war with a legend like Sue Bird? Let us rewind to how this even started. Team USA announces a December training camp.
Well, let's talk about USA basketball. Did a video yesterday afternoon late that Caitlin Clark is among a number of participants that's headed to the senior training camp for Team USA. Now, I would assume, right? Oh, they've learned all kinds of lessons after failing to put Caitlin Clark on Team USA during the Olympics. By the way, of which the guy that runs the 2028 Olympics, he come out and said he thought it was a terrible idea leaving her off the team. Adam Silver said, hey, I think this was an opportunity that they could have had to have grown women's sports.
On paper, it is simple. Bring the best players in the world to one gym. Test lineups for the next World Cup and the LA Olympics. Finally, give Caitlin Clark an honest shot to take over the national team. Fans are hyped. The camp list drops, and buried in the details is one line that changes everything. Caitlin Clark will not wear number 22. She's been assigned number 17. At first, people think it has to be a mistake. There is no veteran wearing 22. The number is just sitting there, empty.
No one name is bigger than Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's name has definitely took the world by storm in these last recent days, dealing with this Team USA situation, because we ultimately know she was snubbed from the cover of Team USA. And not only is they snubbing her, the disrespect is continuing, because it's looking like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her number. Now, this article has come out early this morning about the matter, so this could be the first time you guys is hearing about this, but let's blow it up and let's dive right into the story, man. It states Caitlin Clark Team USA number change turns heads. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will be wearing a foreign number the next time she competes on a basketball court.
The one jersey tied to Caitlin's identity somehow ends up on nobody's back. So either this is cluelessness from USA Basketball, or it is a deliberate message. You are not bigger than the system. Reports say Caitlin's response is simple. If she cannot wear 22, she is not coming. No long speech, no media tour, just a line in the sand. And this is where Sue Bird comes in. Sue is not just a retired legend. She is the managing director of the program. Her job is to build culture, protect the brand, and make sure these camps run smooth. Instead, she is watching the biggest star in the sport basically tell her, I do not need you as much as you need me.
Does I said NBC should have been furious that she was not on the Olympic team. They might have shattered potentially actual Olympic basketball records, maybe outside of the old Dream Team kind of records, right? Back when television ratings in general were just higher because there was no streaming services, yada, yada, yada. But you get my point. It'd have been a huge rating. Instead, they continue to treat Caitlin Clark like she's a leper. What are we doing?
Behind the scenes, the story is that Sue Bird is furious. She is calling people. She is trying to calm coaches down. She is trying to convince Caitlin's camp this is not personal, that numbers are just numbers. But the internet has already decided this is personal, because to Caitlin Clark and to her fan base, 22 is not a random pick. It is the number that followed her from childhood to Iowa to the Fever. It is on every poster, every shirt, every highlight compilation. When people think of women's basketball right now, they think of a white 22 pulling up from the logo. That number is a brand. It is an identity. So when Team USA strips it away while leaving the jersey empty, it does not feel like a small paperwork issue. It feels like control. It feels like the old guard testing the new star. We can move you wherever we want. You will still say yes. Except Caitlin, for once, is not saying yes. The moment fans see number 17 next to Caitlin's name, the backlash is instant. People post edits of her burning the 17 jersey. They tell her to stay home, to protect her brand, to stop letting federations use her name while disrespecting what makes her special. And honestly, they have a point. Team USA needs Caitlin Clark more than Caitlin Clark needs Team USA. With her, they get record ratings, sold out arenas, new sponsors, and kids wearing USA jerseys again. Without her, they are still great at basketball, but culturally, they look stuck in the past. So this fight over a number is really a fight over power. Is the player serving the program, or has the program reached the point where it must serve the player who brings in the new generation of fans? Now imagine the two paths in front of them. Path 1. Caitlin stands firm. She refuses number 17. She skips camp. Sue Bird doubles down and says no one player is above the team. Short term, Team USA looks strong. Long term, they look petty, and the relationship with the most important player in the sport may be damaged for years. Path 2. Team USA quietly walks this back. A new graphic drops. Caitlin Clark, number 22. Official. The statement is buried. The spin is that it was always the plan, but everyone watching knows what really happened. The old guard blinked. Either way, this is bigger than a jersey. This is the moment where we see if USA basketball understands the future of its own game. Here is my take. Caitlin Clark should not have to fight this hard for something so basic. You invite the biggest star in the world to your camp. You do not hand her a random number and expect her to smile for photos. You respect what she has built. You hand her 22 and you say thank you for bringing millions of new fans to the sport. If they cannot get that right, why should players trust them on anything bigger, like salaries, schedule, marketing, or health? But I want to know what you think. Should Caitlin Clark walk away from Team USA over this number? Or is it smarter to take 17, keep the peace, and try to change the system from the inside? If you are still watching, drop keep 22 in the comments, so I know you made it to the end and you are riding with Caitlin in this fight.